This is a basic introduction to Avid Media Composer 7. Now when you launch Avid Media Composer 7, you will see here a window where it will ask you to select a project. Now I'll go ahead and explain this so that way you can understand what each item pertains to here. The user is the administrator. This is the person that logged in to the computer at this time. The folder is where the folder is going to be saved at. If you are initially doing this for the first time, make sure you select on this button here and select where you want your folder to be at. This is very important because all items must go to that folder from this project from this point on. It's also very important because if you decide to take this project elsewhere, you want to share things with someone, you need to know where your files and folders reside. Underneath that's the user profile. Again, this is the user for this program that's being used at this time. This is the person that's logged into the system. Underneath that, on the left hand side of this window, you'll see it says select project. This is if you already have a project made. If you do not have a project, then you select here where it says new project. When you select on there and you're going to make a new project, give it a name. So you can call this practice, and then go ahead and type in the format or select the format, the color space, the dimensions of your project, and so on and so forth. So make sure you understand those options. This should be matching at least as close as possible to the type of footage you're bringing in. You will know what kind of footage you're bringing in by going to your camera and going to look at the settings that you have. If you did not do the shooting, then you can ask the person that did the shooting of the event what kind of size of footage did they use and the frame rate and so on and so forth, and they will tell you what those settings are. And again, you will go through these and you will go through whatever options they told you. Select on OK, and you'll see here it says new project, and then the old project I had. I'm going to select the project I already had. Now on the right hand side, you'll see here it says private, shared, and external, and I'll explain what those mean. Private, it means that only you, this is based on the login, that person that's logged in will be able to work on this project and see the files of this project. So you're the only person that's working on this. The shared means that all the users, let's say you have a computer with several users, that means that all the users on the computer can work on your project and see your project. So be mindful of that. And then external pertains to, let's say, a collaborative process, a server-based section, or not section, a server-based option where you have files residing outside of your machine. So your project files may reside somewhere on a server, and many people can work on the project or in a collaborative process, or perhaps again you're working in an environment where you're not allowed to put anything on your machine. Everything has to go to the server. So this is the option that you will select for that option. So I'll select on private. Again, I'll select the name of my project and I'll select on OK. Once you do that, you will have your application launch, and you will see that you'll have a bin on the right hand side, and you will have on the right of that, you'll see a monitor on the left and a monitor on the right. The monitor on the left is the source monitor. The monitor on the right is the program monitor, and then this window here on the bottom is your timeline or sequence. In this window, my project window, you can select to create new bins. So let's say I want to make a bin for video, a bin for audio, and a bin for pictures. Avid Media Composer will allow you to create all the bins you wish and also separate or include the bins with each other or in a separate manner, and I'll explain what I'm speaking about. If I were to select on this button here where it says new bin, you will see that it gives me the option to create a new bin and give it a new name. So I'll name this video, and I'll select outside of it, and you'll see this window appear, which is a new bin. If I were to come back here and create another bin, and I'll name this one audio, I will have another bin named audio. Now I have these bins here, so I have video and audio. Let's say I don't have enough space to have many windows. Perhaps I want to select this tab and drag it to this bin. So once I drag it in here and I let go, and I'll go ahead and increase the size of this, you will see that there are two tabs now, a video tab and an audio tab, but they're actually two separate bins. If I want to separate them, once again, I can select on the audio tab, bring it outside of the bin, and you'll see that now I have two windows once again. I'm going to go ahead and close this and only keep the video bin open for now. I'm going to go ahead and bring in some footage in here into this bin so you can further see some of the other options that you have in these bins. So I'm going to right click in here and I'm going to select import, or I'm going to cancel this, select AMA link. Now AMA will allow me to link to files without having to transcode them. Transcoding means having to change the footage from one item to the other. I don't want to get too technical because people start getting lost, and this is a right to the point video, so I'm trying to get right to the point and get as quickly as possible to what we need to know. So if I go to a folder on the left hand side, by the way, I see my drives, and then to the right of that I'll see the options I have there. So if I were to select on a folder, or I'll just select on videos, so I'll select on this one, and perhaps this one, and I'll select on open. AMA is the fastest way for you to bring in footage into Avid Media Composer 7. It's very quick, and you're just doing a direct link to the video. Now you'll see here I have 3 different videos in my bin. Now let me show you the options that you have in this bin. On the bottom left hand side, you'll have these 3 buttons. You'll have this one, which is your text view. This one is for the frame view, and this one is for your script view. Let me increase the size of this. Now, if I go to my text view, you will see the name of your video that you have brought in, and then you have these symbols, meaning that it's going to be AMA linked. Now, if you want to see a visual indicator or indication of your video, you will select on the frame view button, and then you'll see these frame views now, or thumbnails. You'll see that they're rather small, and I really can't make this out. In Avid Media Composer, you are able to increase the size of these thumbnails or frames that you have here. The way you go about doing that is, if you're working on a Mac, is by pressing the Command key and the letter L. If you're working on a PC, it's the Control key and the letter L. So if I were to do that, you'll see that they become larger and larger every time I select the Command key and the letter L, or simply keep holding the Command key or the control key and continue pressing the letter L. The more times you press it, the larger the thumbnails or frames will become. If you press the command key or the control key and press the letter K, that will decrease the size of the items. You may notice that when I keep increasing, they go out of view. So you can either select to make this window bigger or make them fit into the window, because perhaps you're working on just one monitor and you don't have enough space, so you need to maximize your space as much as you can inside this window. The way you go about doing that is right click inside the bin and then go ahead and select fill window, and now all three items will fit inside the window. Now you'll notice as well that every single one of these will start with text. That will not allow me to see what my video is about. So these are called the poster frames, or the frame that you have available to you to view your clip. So if I want to change that, we'll select on the clip. Just don't double click, just single click, by the way. And then either press the space bar, or you can press the letter L as in Lewis, and that will go ahead and play through your clip. Now if you press the letter L several times, it'll go in fast forward. So the more times you press the letter L, the faster it goes. To stop, you press the space bar or the letter K, and that will allow you to change the poster frame. So now I can clearly see what the video is. Same thing for this one. Again, press the letter L several times to fast forward through your footage, and press the letter K or the letter L to stop. Same thing for this one. So that's how you go about, once again, scrubbing through your footage very, very quickly and changing your poster frame for your clip. Now once that is done, you can once again change the view. So I can go to the script view and see the changes here, and you will see that by pressing the command and K key or command and L key will also increase and decrease the size in this view. And what I like about this one is that you can select on these boxes underneath the names of your clips and start typing in whatever it is you need to type in for yourself, or perhaps for your assistant or your other person that you're working with if you're working collaboratively, so they can see information about that. So you can type in what's called metadata into these boxes. Once you have done your option for that, in order to open up a clip, you will double click on it. Once you double click on it, you will see the clip appear in the source monitor. You will see a playhead down the bottom left hand side of your source monitor. You can select on there and drag by left clicking and dragging, and this will allow you to drag through your footage, or should I say scrub through the footage. You can also press the space bar to play. You can also press the L key to play. Once again, if you press the L key several times, it'll go and fast forward. To stop, you press the space bar or the K key. To rewind, you'll select the J key. And the J key, just as you do with the L key, the more times you press the J key, the faster it will rewind. Now, if you wish to use a button, you'll select this button here and it will play. That's your play button. And then you have several buttons on the left and the right of that. Immediately to the left, you'll have the mark in button, and to the right of that is the mark out button. Now, speaking of mark in, mark out, if you don't already know, marking in is when you mark a section to start, and marking out is when you press to stop a footage. So you're marking the footage that you want. Or you can select the letter I, which I will do right now. So I will click in here, press the letter I, and select somewhere else and press the letter O. That's marking an in and out point. You will see these marks here, meaning that's the end of the selection I have created. And then you can hit and bring this footage into your timeline or sequence when you're ready. To do that, you will press the letter B as in boy to do an overwrite, or the letter V to do an insert or splice. So once you do that, select the letter B and you will see that your timeline will become populated with your clip, and your timeline, your playhead will go to the end of your clip. So that is how you bring in a shot into Avid Media Composer. Once you do that, to select a second shot, you double click back in your bin, select an endpoint by the letter O, selecting the letter I, the letter I an endpoint and the letter O for an out point, and then you once again overwrite that into your timeline. So that's how you go about start doing a basic edit in Avid Media Composer. Now, what about if you want to create a second track of video, or perhaps a second track of audio? To do that, you'll go ahead and select to do a command key and the letter Y, or if you're working on a PC, the control key and the letter Y for video tracks, and the command key and the letter U, or the control key if you're working on a PC, and the letter U to create a new audio track. So if I were to select command Y, you see a new video track appear, and the command key and the letter U to select or create a new audio track. Now, to make sure that a new video comes in to just the track that you want to, you must patch this to the proper track. So on the left hand side of Avid Media Composer, you will select here where it says V1, left click and hold, and then drag over to the second track. You will see a arrow appear, and now you have the second track patched. If you're going to bring in video that has audio but you don't want the audio to come in, you have to disconnect the audio tracks or the patches for the audio tracks, so that way only the video track is selected. So once you disconnect these by selecting them, they will turn gray, and that means they're disconnected. No audio will come in. So if I were to select another video clip and select another section here, and I were to select the letter B to do an overwrite, you will see that only the second track came in, and also only video came in. So no audio came in at all. My audio from the original tracks stayed intact. So that's how you create a basic edit in Avid Media Composer, and that's how you go about creating new tracks in Avid Media Composer. And again, we have timeline with our tracks and our video. We have our source modder, and then we have our program modder. So on the right hand side is our program modder, and we have our source modder on the left hand side. You have bins that you can create. So you have this bin. If I were to close that bin, you will see here that my sequence has disappeared. Their sequence resides inside the bin that you created the first time. So make sure that you open up your bins, and you'll see here it says untitled sequence. You can in fact move sequences from one bin to the other. So I'm going to name this making the reel, and I'm going to take this and move it to this bin. So once I do that, you'll see that it comes over, and now that way when I close this bin, it will not close my sequence. This is a basic introduction to Avid Media Composer Part 1. Thank you for watching Making the Reel.